All right, let's rock out some music history. Oh, groove up bass!
What is up, you degenerates? Welcome back to another episode of Music History with Joey. I'm your host, Joey, coming to you from a studio that currently smells like stale coffee and questionable life decisions. Before we get into this, as I was researching for this song, I went back and listened to the Core album from 1992. Absolutely fantastic. If you haven't listened to this album in a while, give it another listen. It is absolutely glorious. So today we're hopping into the time machine and setting the dial for 1992, a time when flannel was the only acceptable fabric. Everyone's hair was perpetually damp for some reason, and the world was trying to figure out if San Diego was secretly a suburb of Seattle. We're talking about the song that put Stone Temple Pilots on the map, the heavy hitting, the riff chugging, and widely misunderstood anthem, Sex Type Thing. So grab your Doc Martens, try to remember where you put that angst, and let's get into it. Okay, let's set the scene. It's 1992, STP drops their debut album Core, and the lead single is Sex Type Thing. The second that opening riff starts, which by the way sounds like a bulldozer trying to parallel park in the library, people went nuts. But here's the funny thing, back then the music critics were mean, man. They were more bitter than a cup of black coffee left on a radiator. They called STP grunge clones. They said Scott Weiland was just doing an impression of Eddie Vedder having a very intense dream about Lane Staley. Rolling Stone actually voted STP the worst new band in 1993. Can you imagine? That's like voting pizza the worst new food. History has proven the critics were wrong, because while those critics were busy writing grumpy reviews on actual typewriters, STP was busy writing riffs that would stay stuck in our heads for the next 30 years. DeLeo, the guitarist, basically wrote a riff that makes you want to drive a monster truck through a wall of marshmallows. It's heavy, it's swingy, and it's got that I'm wearing leather pants and I don't care if I'm sweating energy. Now we gotta talk about the lyrics, because this is where things get awkward. If you were a frat boy in 1992, you probably loved this song. You were probably screaming, "I am a man," while doing a cake stand. And to you, I say, whoops, you missed the point, Steve. Scott Weiland wrote Sex Type Thing from the perspective of a total creep. It's a character study. It's actually a song against date rape and toxic masculinity. Scott was basically saying, hey, look how disgusting this mindset is. It's the ultimate irony of rock history. You got this incredible, powerful song mocking predatory jocks, and it becomes the favorite song of predatory jocks. It's like people using Born in the USA for political rallies or playing Every Breath You Take at weddings. Guys, Every Breath You Take is about a stalker. Don't play that while you're cutting the cake. Don't. We probably need to do a deep dive on that song. Just thinking out loud. Scott once said he was inspired by a girl he knew who had been traumatized, and he wanted to scream at that guy who did it. So when he's singing, I Know You Want It, he's not saying he thinks that. He's playing the villain. It's like Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lamb. He's not actually a cannibal, guys. He's just really good at making you uncomfortable while he talks about fava beans. We cannot talk about the song without the music video. If you haven't seen it lately, go watch it. It's basically Scott Weiland shirtless, covered in what looks like engine oil, hanging from chains in a basement. Here's a little taste. That was peak 90s rock star performance right there. Scott had this way of moving like he had no bones. He was like this human noodle with a very deep voice. He was mesmerizing. He had this David Bowie meets Iggy Pop energy, but with more dirt. And let's talk about the hair. In the Sex Type Thing video, he's got that red hair, the combat boots. He's doing that weird S dance. My mom saw that video back in the day and asked if he needed a sandwich and a nap. I told her, no mom, he needs a Grammy, which they eventually got, but for a different song. Ah yes, details, details. The video really hammered home the claustrophobia of the lyrics. It was dark, it was grimy, and it made you feel like you needed a shower immediately after watching it. Mission accomplished, Scott. So 30 plus years later, how does Sex Type Thing hold up? Honestly, it's a banger. If you play that riff at a stoplight today, the car next to you will start nodding their head. It's science. STP proved they weren't clones. They were masters of a certain kind of big rock that had swagger. They took the sludge of grunge and added a little bit of Vegas glitz and a lot of classic rock muscle. And Sex Type Thing remains the ultimate test of did you actually listen to the lyrics? That's a heavy song with a heavy message that's wrapped itself in a riff so good it tricked the very people it was making fun of. That, my friends, is rock and roll subversion at its finest. That's our deep dive for tonight. This has been Music History with Joey, reminding you to read the lyrics, respect people's boundaries, and never ever trust a music riff from 1993. If you like this episode, hit the like button like it's a snare drum in a grunge kit. Next time, we're talking about why every band in the 90s had at least one member who played the tambourine like their life depended on it. Keep it sexy, keep it rocking, stay loud, stay weird, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace!